which might have made Hamzar's fortune with a less expert buyer, was an inferior stone in truth, worth only the price of an extra laser charge. A laser charge. My fingers crooked tighter about my weapon. I would willingly exchange now a whole bag of Lalars for another charge waiting at my belt. A man's life is ever worth, at least to him, more than the fabled treasure of Jacquard. So Vandar had watched the natives in the tavern, and they had watched the spinning arrow of death. Then that arrow had wavered to a halt, pointing at no man directly, but to the narrow space which existed between Vandar's shoulder and mine as we sat side by side. And Vandar had smiled then, saying, "It would seem that their demon is somewhat undecided this night, Murdoc." He spoke in basic, but there were probably those there who understood his words. Even then he did not fear or reach for a weapon, though I had never known Vandar to be less than alert. No man can follow the life of a gem buyer from planet to planet without having eyes all around his head, a ready laser, and a nose ever sniffing for the taint of danger. If the demon had been undecided, his followers were not. They came for us. From the long sleeves of their robes suddenly appeared the bind cords used on prisoners they dragged to their lord's lair. I took the first of those green robes, beaming across the tabletop, which left the wood scorched and smoking. Vandar moved, but a fraction too late. As the free traders say, his luck spaced, for the man to his left sprang at him, slamming him back against the wall, pinning his hand out of reach of his weapon. They were all yammering at us now, the green robes halting, content to let others take the risk in pulling us down. I caught a second man reaching for Vandar, but the one already struggling with him I dared not ray, lest I get my master too. Then I heard Vandar cry out, the sound speedily smothered in a rush of blood from my lips. We had been forced apart in the struggle, and now, as I slipped along the wall, trying to get beam sight on the green robes, my shoulders met no solid surface. I stumbled back and out through a side door into the street. It was then that I ran, heedlessly at first, then dodging into a deep doorway for a moment. I could hear the hunt behind me. From such hunting there was little hope of escape, for they were between me and the spaceport. For a long moment I huddled in that doorway, seeing no possible future beyond a fight to the end. What fleeting scrap of memory was triggered then I did not know, but I thought of the sanctuary past which Hamzar had taken us 3-4 days earlier. His story concerning it flashed into my mind, though at that instant I could not be sure in which direction that very thin hope of safety might lie. I tried to push panic to the back of my mind, picture instead the street before me and how it ran in relation to the city. Training has saved many a man in such straits, and training came to my aid now, for memory had been fostered in me by stiff schooling. I was not the son and pupil of Murdoc Jern for naught. Thus and thus I recalled the running of the streets, and thought I had some faint chance of following them. There was this also. Those who hunted me would deem they had all the advantages, and that they need only keep between me and the spaceport, and I would be easy prey, caught deep in the maze of their unfamiliar city. I slipped from the shadow of the door and began a weaving which took me not in the direction they would believe I would be desperately seeking, but veering from it north and west. And so I had come into this alley, slipping and scraping through its noisome muck. My only guides were two, and to see one I had to look back to the tower of the port. Its light was strong and clear across this dark-skied world. Keeping it ever at my right, I took it for a reverse signal. The other I could only catch glimpses of now and again as I scuttled from one shadowed space to the next. It was the watchtower of Kunga, standing tall to give warning against the sudden attacks of the barbarian sea rovers who raided down from the north in the lean seasons of the great cold. The alley ended in a wall. I leapt to catch its crest, my laser held between my teeth. On the top I perched, looking about me, until I decided that the wall would now form my path. It continued to run along behind the buildings, offering none too wide a footing, but keeping me well above ground level. There were dim lights in the back windows.